Since about 2005, Microsoft has been my favorite manufacturer of controllers. Here we have the Xbox One style of controller, but I think I actually want to get an upgrade. And this new controller's got some extras. Here we're going to go ahead and take a look at the new Hex Blade tactical gaming controller. This is by HexGaming, and it had been sent out to me for review. They aren't looking at any of the footage or anything. All this is my own opinion. And as you can see, it comes nice and wrapped up. I'm trying to go ahead and rip that stuff off so we can get into this. Now to get this open, I'm going to use a little thing called the wiggle maneuver, okay? Step back, watch me shake the box. I think this is the way to go. Then you have this little like sleeve that we just kind of pop off. And then it looks like we have some kind of shell. And it's totally a carrying case that it's in, which is super nice. And then if we flip it over, it's got the logo on it, which is of course for the HexGaming Hex Blade. And if you flip it open, you can see this actually comes with custom designs. This is chameleon green. It looks awesome. And my thumbsticks are not attached, but that's not because it's broken. It's actually a feature. It comes with 6 thumbsticks, but you get to put on whichever ones you want. Now we'll go ahead and take some of the goodies out. Here's the quick start guide. You get a page of the logo. Here's the back of the controller. You can change the thumbsticks, LEDs, and you can configure this stuff. And then there is a backside to this, which has LED light indicators for the back buttons, different ways to set it up, buttons can be assigned, and then they have some examples of this. Now, to the actual controller itself, it's actually fairly easy to go ahead and get these thumbsticks on. I will go ahead and show you. They pretty much only really have one way they're going to go on here. You can pretty much just twist the stick until it slots in, and then it's pretty snug on. And this feels pretty good. It definitely doesn't feel like it's going to come off or anything like that. You get a really good grip. Now, I will go ahead and compare this with my Xbox Series X controller, and I do want to point out that this is not the same shell. The D-pad is different, and the Series X uses a USB Type-C, whereas this uses a micro USB for connection and charging. Another difference between the two Xbox controllers is the finish. The Series X has more of a matte finish, whereas this has more of a glossy finish. I've used them both a fair bit and didn't really notice any difference. I don't prefer one over the other. Maybe if you have more dry hands or sweaty hands or something like that, it would make some sort of difference, but for me, totally down for both of them. Now, getting the feel of this controller will be kind of hard for me to convey over video. It's something you'll probably need to just put in your hands, but because this uses stuff that the Xbox controller uses, I would say expect something similar to the original, except we got stuff on the back. So there are 2 buttons added on the back that can be remapped to whatever you want. And then the little knobs at the top adjust how long it takes for your trigger finger to go off, so you can make it shorter or longer. So I showed you that new Xbox controller. The new PlayStation doesn't even have this stuff on it either. Like, these paddles are awesome, and they've been around for a little bit, but like, no one's implementing them, and it's kind of annoying. Like, being able to just slide these up or down or slap on the back paddles is such a nice feature to be able to have, and it's clearly something people like. Like, Sony tried playing with a back button on the PS4, and no one did it, so you gotta go out and get something like this if that's the functionality that you're wanting to go for. Another huge factor in picking out a controller is how the thumbsticks feel. Some people prefer more of a dome, some people want more concave. I personally prefer something closer to an Xbox controller, with the right thumbstick being taller so that I have a little more distance away from the actual joystick that's built in, so that you can get a little bit more precise aiming. It does come with a bunch of different ones though, so obviously feel free to pick which one you like. So I've showed off the controller physically quite a bit, but let's go ahead and jump into actually using it with software. Now, to set up your new controller, you can either go ahead and power it on and hit the pairing button on both your system of choice, I'm using an Xbox Series X, and your controller. Or what you may need to do is you may need to go to Xbox Accessories, which is in the settings on the Xbox dashboard, and go to Connect to Device. Then what I would go ahead and do if they are not automatically pairing together whenever you hit the buttons, you may need to go ahead and plug a USB into both of the devices, one single cable, one end into the system, the other into the controller, and it should pop up here. And whenever you have it, you can go ahead and click through to configure, or you may have a additional options button. And as you can see, if we go into here, firmware version, no update available. You want to make sure that this is up to date. I had to go ahead and update the controller to get it to work on this system wirelessly, and you very well may need to do the same. Now, if you want to go ahead and configure the controller, you of course can do so on the system, and you can go through and make a profile and be able to edit that, and this will allow you to do some remapping and modify things. Or what you can do is you can go ahead and just do some remapping via the controller itself. I specifically want to take note of setting up the rear buttons. To be able to change the rear buttons, we are going to need to activate the remap setting mode. To do that, you hold down the view button, which is this right here. We are also going to need to hold down at the same time the left bumper and the right bumper. Whenever you hold all these down for 5 seconds, the back of the controller has a spot for an LED and it will turn blue. Whenever it's blue, this means it's in remap setting mode. I'm going to go ahead and hit the A button and the right paddle. All you do is you hold them down until the LED starts to blink. Once it's done blinking, you go ahead and hold down the same 3 buttons you did to get into this mode to leave. Once the light's gone, you can go ahead and test it out. As you can see, it's working just fine. Now, if you would like to unassign a button, you can go ahead and do the very same steps, but just do them a second time. So what you can go ahead and do is I will do the right paddle and I will do A, and this time, instead of flashing blue, it'll flash red. There are plenty of combinations that you can get with this controller. You can set it up pretty much however you like, not only with the customization of these paddles, but there's also, of course, the trigger controls that we touched on and the replaceable thumbsticks. And I think that about wraps it up for this video. Thank you very much for watching. If you have any questions or have anything else you want to see on this controller, I would be happy to do a follow-up video, or, just answer your comments if you have any specific questions that you need answered about this. Thank you very much to HexGaming for sending this out for review. And until the next one, take care. Goodbye.